Our major African meals, or let me be specific again, Nigerian meals, they consist of starch, oil, and spices. Those are in a higher ratio. And then in a small ratio, we have vegetables and meat or fish. Now, I don't know, it might be because meats, fish, and vegetables can be expensive compared to the starchy part of the food, which is why you see somebody going to a buka and they will buy 100 naira rice and just one piece of meat, because one piece of meat is probably 100 naira, you know. But there are ways to go about it. You can eat African food, be satisfied, and still be a healthy weight. You can eat African food and not be overweight. You can eat African food without your cholesterol level shooting up. The first thing to consider is how you cook it. Now, especially for Yoruba people like me, we tend to use a lot of oil. And this oil is not, the role it plays is a minor role. So you don't have to use so much oil. I'll explain this. You don't have to use a lot of oil in your food. For instance, let me give you an example. If you're making stew, instead of frying your meat, you can grill it. If you don't have a gas oven or electric grill, you can even use a coal pot to grill it outdoors, and then use it to cook. It's even tasty. It's better than fried meat, because from frying the meat, number one, you're overheating the oil, which is going to create another problem for you. And then the meat most times is already fatty, and then you're adding more fat to it. But when you grill, the fat melts out of the meat. So you're removing fat instead of adding fat. Let's give another example. If you're cooking egusi soup, egusi is melon seed, and melon seed has its own oil. You can cook egusi soup without adding palm oil. Yorubas are very particular about appearance of their food. Most of the time, the oil is playing an aesthetic role. It's just to make the soup fine, to make it look nice, to make it look attractive, for sheen. You look at the pot and everything is shining like that. So you can avoid oil. There's so many ways to go about it, and in my subsequent recipes, I will try to explain different ways to avoid oil, especially in African food. That's the first thing. Now, the second thing is, how do you eat your African food? If you eat your African food in excess, you will gain weight. The same way if you eat any other kind of food. It's not just African food. African food is heavy. It contains starch, it contains oil. So now imagine eating starch and oil in extra quantities. Your body is going to store it as fat naturally. And so you're going to get fat. Some people have tendencies to gain weight, you know, genetically now. Some people have a higher tendency to gain weight than others. But we can all watch our weight and we can all avoid some foods that make us gain weight in excess. If you eat, say, pounded yam after a hard day, after a stressful day, you come home and eat pounded yam at, say, 9 p.m. What time will you go to bed? What time do you have for that pounded yam to digest? You probably go to bed immediately after eating the pounded yam, and so your body is going to store it. Why not have that pounded yam for lunch instead? And then when you come home in the evening, you can eat eko, which is the pap, or my Igbo brothers and sisters call it agidi. Have agidi at night, or moi moi, or even just pepper soup, and go to bed. You know, a lot of times we tend to overeat. Most of the time, the capacity of the stomach is pushed beyond its limits. After we finish eating, we have to unbuckle our belts, unzip our trousers. If you have to unzip your trousers when you eat, then I think you're overeating. It's either that or you're not wearing your size of trousers. I'm sorry, I'm not bashing anybody, but we need to be realistic. Let's avoid processed foods. And the truth is, most African foods are not processed. It's the processed foods that even give us more of a problem. Bread, noodles, spaghetti, the snacks, meat pie, donut. We tend to forget to count all those calories when we say we have eaten. Somebody comes in now and she says, "Oh, I've not eaten all day." You say, "How come?" She say, "I had a busy day. Oh. I was so stressed. I only had meat pie and Fanta, or donut and Fanta." The number of calories in donut and Fanta is a lot higher than that bowl of pounded yam that you're running away from. Run away from fast foods and run to African food instead. Buy rice and beans, buy meat or fish. At lunchtime, look for a clean buka. Buy amala, ewedu. Eat it, go back to your work. You will even burn calories just taking a quick walk to the buka instead of sending your messenger to go and buy meat pie for you and donuts. Let us not give African food a bad name. African foods are not bad. We just need to know how to handle African food. You see people, they say, "Oh, I don't eat Nigerian food again. No, I'm now doing Atkins diet." Our forefathers, they ate pounded yam for breakfast. But they were going to the farm and they would work it out and sweat and walk back home. But we eat pounded yam and sit in front of the computer or in front of TV and sleep. A lot of us run away from exercise. We don't want to do any exercise. Yes, you can reduce your food intake, but your body has stored some fat and you need to burn it out. And unless you starve yourself, that extra fat in your body might not leave. And I don't advise anybody to starve himself or herself. You don't want to have ulcer. You don't want to have low blood sugar, all in the name of diet. So please, my people, let us also remember the timing. That's the third thing. When to eat your African food. Don't eat last thing at night and then go straight to bed without letting it digest. Depending on the kind of work you do, sometimes you're even better off eating that heavy meal in the morning. If you're on the move all day, there's nothing wrong with eating heavy food in the morning. You will burn it out. Instead of eating long grain rice, you can eat ofada rice or abakaliki rice. They are healthy, they are unpolished, they are unprocessed. A lot of the imported rice that we buy is processed. I feel strongly about this issue because I love my African food, and I see that a lot of people are giving African food a bad name. African food is not bad. It's not bad. So please, my people, if you have any questions, I can do like a meal plan for you, recipes if you want. Just drop whatever you would like me to share. Drop it in the comments, subscribe, like the videos, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.